I really care about this, maybe because I feel more connected when I get the opportunity to build a team from scratch and watch us all evolve and grow together. That's probably what I enjoy most at work. But it's also because I had some bad experiences. For example, I was once hired for a role that just wasn't right for me. I didn't have a lot of the skills they needed, and it didn't really match my career goals. For some reason, both parties thought we were a match, but we really weren't. After some time, I had to leave. It just wasn't for me, and that wasn't easy. I mean, I did feel a few red flags during the hiring process, but I guess I ignored them. That's why today we are going to talk about a few simple things people often miss, things that can make a difference. We focus so much on hiring the most competent person, which is good, but we forget that people wear masks. I also have a question for you later about one of these topics that I would like your help with. So, the first thing I see is that hiring managers focus mainly on previous experience or how people answer tricky questions about competence, business, operations, whatever it is, which is great, but they don't focus enough on potential or team fit. I've hired a lot of people, and throughout most of my career, I've been invited to be a peer interviewer or a panel interviewer or just to help with interviews. I've been part of teams hiring for new growing businesses. There were times when I was doing 3, 4, even 5 interviews a day for months on top of my other duties because we needed to scale fast while expanding internationally, hiring for everything from entry level positions to senior leadership roles. And I kept seeing the same pattern. For example, in sales positions where candidates had similar technical skills, many managers prefer to hire someone with an existing network or experience in a specific field over someone with a smaller network but greater growth potential. Let's think about this for a second. If you hire someone for their network or some other short term reason and you don't believe they have potential, what's going to happen once that network dries up, huh? We need both types of people. So once you've validated that they have the basic qualifications for the role, instead of doing what everyone else does, which is digging deeper into the same validation and trying to keep uncovering how much this person can impress us, let's go deeper into their minds. Ask questions about specific problems they've faced in professional environments and how they solved them. For example, ask about a time they had an issue with a stakeholder, a client, or a leader. Or have them share a failure story or a moment when they had to make a difficult decision. Tell them to be very specific. Ask them to describe the background, the situation, their role, and the outcome. It's better if you link these questions to their previous experience or things they've shared during the conversation. If possible, try to narrow the scope. And if they deviate from this framing, help them come back. The trick here is to ask follow-up questions. This is very important. Ask questions that narrow the scope to verify if the qualifications they mentioned are accurate and if their stories hold up. It's not that people want to lie, but sometimes they are nervous trying to impress you and really want to get an offer. For example, if they told you that their project reduced costs by 20%, ask follow up questions like, how did you achieve this? Was this only due to your project, or did other factors like lower raw material prices help? Or what did people tell you when you proposed this? Now, these are generic follow up questions, and you should get more creative and specific according to each one of your cases. But the point is, don't let people only charm you with their stories. Go deeper with questions that help you validate if they really know the topic and if the story is authentic. Then ask them what would they do differently this time, what they learned, and what didn't work. People who struggle to show that they can do better or struggle to admit they are not perfect usually, not always, but usually have that issue rooted in insecurity or high ego. Now, some positions do require a big ego, yes, but you don't want everyone on your team to be like that. And I recommend you to aim for people who accept their failures and prefer to grow, even if they have a big ego. It's not impossible. Coming back to it, it's crucial to validate their background, experience, and skills. After that, ask them to share the stories we mentioned to see how they solve problems, of if they are driven for growth, if they are resilient, if they learn, and if they think strategically. Many companies that care about the long term train their managers to focus on potential and fit rather than just skills. Now, this second thing really bugs me: building cases for interviews. I see this all the time. Why are people given a few days or even a week to build them? Cases are good, but do you really think people are not getting help from friends or AI? Come on, many are. And not only that. What if the candidate has no time to build a case? What if they are swamped at work or in life in general? You could be discarding people just because they don't have time outside of work that week. I think it's better to have the candidate solve the cases right in front of you, online or face to face. And yeah, this has its cons, like less time to think or more room for mistakes, but honestly, it's more real. Build a case that helps uncover their true knowledge in short time. Period. You could argue that some specific roles or projects really need extra time. Okay, fair enough. But just keep in mind that the risk of getting help or discarding people because they are swamped at that moment exists. This next one intrigues me, and I want your opinion because I don't think we really get the time to truly get to know the candidates. Sometimes interviews are unfair and favor the wrong people or overlook the right ones. So, what do you think about spending more time to really get to know a candidate? Not every candidate, but those at the very end of the process. We could go out for coffee or grab a bite, always keeping it professional, of course. You could also do it online if you want, but the goal would be to talk about other things: hobbies, personal goals, cultural fit, life stories, or anything else that's appropriate in a professional setting but not directly related to the job description. I really want to know your opinion on this one, so let me know in the comments. Do you think this could be helpful, or could it create more biases? What's your take?